Tonight, on the world's most amazing videos, 500 tons of TNT explode. Can these Navy battleships withstand the blast? Plus, a dangerous stunt goes wrong, trapping a daredevil in a pile of twisted steel. And a wedding day prank backfires, turning holy matrimony into holy hell. Plus, a tanker erupts in flames, plunging a firefighter into a red-hot cauldron of boiling gasoline. And a helicopter plunges from the sky, pinning a terrified man under the blazing wreckage. These are the incredible true life stories of people who face their most desperate hour and live to tell about it. Everything you are about to see is real. Real people, real danger, real excitement. Get ready to experience the thrill of a lifetime. You are about to witness the world's most amazing videos.
Maui, Hawaii. 7 miles from the grand resorts and sunny shores of Wailea Beach is the deserted island of Kaho'olawe, the site of one of the most horrific explosions ever captured on film. But this tiny tropical paradise is not the victim of an enemy attack. It's the target of the United States Navy. February 1965, 1 million pounds of TNT are detonated to simulate the blast of an atomic bomb. The purpose of this Cold War experiment is to see how Navy ships could withstand a nuclear attack. Several large vessels are anchored close to shore. The monstrous explosion is powerful enough to wipe out a small city. Debris is sent flying more than half a mile into the bay as the ships are engulfed in a thick cloud of dust. Watch as 2 surveillance blimps are blown out of the sky. Cameras mounted aboard the ships record the destruction. The shock waves are mighty enough to rip through steel walls. Heavy radar equipment is sent flying. A life-size mannequin placed on the deck of one ship is blasted off its feet with frightening force. More than a minute later, fragments of red-hot metal continue to rain down. The smoke clears, revealing that somehow the ships have stayed afloat, but they are severely damaged. This simulation serves as an ominous example of the deadly and devastating power of nuclear weapons. Spartanburg, South Carolina.
Hey, how you doing? I just got a gallon of milk.
Dr. Andy Sansbury has stopped at the local convenience store on his way home. The store clerk, Audra Hilton, steps behind the counter, takes his money, and gives him his change. It's a routine transaction.
Thanks.
But suddenly, a masked bandit charges into the store and attacks Audra. She desperately clings to one of the customers, but the robber pulls her away.
He just kept yelling, "Give me the loot. Give me the loot. I don't want to have to hurt you. Give me the loot." I couldn't fight him back because I was too scared. I mean, I was just trying to get outside the store.
Then Dr. Sansbury takes action.
Now leave her alone! Get back! I'm gonna kill you back! I will stick you in the... Get back!
Take another look. The doctor hurls the gallon jug at the robber.
She's screaming for help. And I've got this milk in my hand, and the next thing I know, I've thrown the milk at him.
Then he jabs at the suspect with a piece of plastic from the broken cigarette rack.
I will stick you in the... Get back! Get back! Get back!
I hit him in the face with that several times, more like I poked him in the face. It was sort of a flimsy thing.
As Audra dials 911, Sansbury goes for the heavy artillery. He shoves the cash register on top of the robber.
Get back!
Then he launches a continuous barrage of 12 packs.
Get back, man!
Sansbury doesn't stop for a second to think if the suspect is armed.
Get back!
Even if he had had a gun or a knife, I think I would have kept throwing things at him.
Get back, man!
I was angry that he was attacking that lady.
Get back!
I was angry that he was robbing the store.
How do I feel you?
I just got extremely angry.
Get back!
Then, as Sansbury continues his attack, the crook peels off his mask so he can find his brand of cigarettes.
Get back! Get back! Help!
Remarkably, the suspect manages to escape without getting caught.
Get back!
And the only loot he grabs is a few packs of smokes.
Back!
While Dr. Sansbury doesn't consider himself a hero, he can be proud to be a winner in the messy fight against crime.
Now leave him alone! Get back! I'm gonna steal you back! Get back, man!
Perth, Australia. Stunt driver Ray Bowman is trying to break the record for the world's longest car jump. 42 vehicles are stacked in a row, 230 feet long. For Ray, this is the most dangerous stunt of his life. 20 daredevils have died trying to accomplish this feat. The crowd at Ravenswood International Raceway is ready. Now for the moment of truth. Ray barrels down the track at 100 miles an hour. He hits the ramp, flying 75 feet into the air. And something goes terribly wrong. Watch again. Ray clears all the cars, but his vehicle crashes into the ground. Let's look at another angle. Ray's speeding machine nosedives into the pavement with crushing force. The 2,000-pound stunt car nearly disintegrates as it skids down the runway. The crowd goes wild, not realizing that Ray is fighting for his life inside the wreckage. Ray's pit crew races to his side as emergency vehicles rush to the scene. One of Ray's team members leaps onto the mangled metal to rescue his friend. It's hard to imagine that anyone could survive this bone-shattering collision. But miraculously, Ray is alive. After several anxious moments, the daredevil emerges from the wreck unhurt. He gives the crowd a valiant wave. Looking back, Ray knows he's lucky to have survived.
When you're flying a car off a ramp and you're going equivalent to 4 to 5 stories high, and then you're coming straight down and hitting the ground, bearing in mind that you've got 1.5 tons of car that's ramming you into this ground, the risk factor of death is well and truly there.
But Ray knew this stunt was doomed from the start.
I think that you know instinctively you're in trouble soon as you hit the end of that ramp. As soon as I'd hit then, I knew that we were in big trouble here.
Unfortunately, Ray finds out later he didn't break the world record because his car didn't land on all 4 wheels. That won't stop him from trying again.
I plan on being a stunt driver as long as the passion's there, because you only live once.
In the future, using that passion will allow Ray to raise hell again.
Coming up, a high-speed crash sends 3 racers careening out of control. Plus, a neighborhood is rocked when an oil tanker explodes in a massive fireball of flames. And teenage vandals are caught videotaping their own rampage of destruction. Then later, a demonstration erupts in panic when a protester's backpack explodes. When the world's most amazing videos returns.
Melbourne, Australia. The Superbike Championships are underway at Calder Park. The bikers come out of a tight turn when suddenly, disaster.
Big crash! Now that's Paul Free. It looks like Adam Ferguson, and it is Craig Connell as well. That is huge, and Connell hasn't moved.
That's pretty nasty.
Watch again. Craig Connell on bike number 2 loses control. He's thrown from his cycle directly into the path of Adam Ferguson. Paul Free quickly comes up from behind. He's launched through the air and slammed to the ground. Incredibly, his bike avoids hitting the other men. The 3 racers skid more than 900 feet before they come to a stop. Another man holds up his arm to alert the oncoming riders. Safety teams rush onto the track to help the injured men.
That looks like a war zone.
Although Adam is in pain, his first concern is his fellow competitors.
I look at Craig and he was laying there. Paul was sort of up on his side. I knew he was pretty winded. But looking at him, I thought, well, all of us are alive.
Paul remembers that terrifying moment.
I knew I was in a lot of trouble. That was the first thing that went through my mind was, this is going to hurt. And I just remember smashing down the road and spinning along my back and being in a lot of pain.
Amazingly, the men suffer only minor injuries. And although he recovers, Adam will never forget his brush with death.
It's definitely one of the scariest things that's ever happened to me. It's something I don't really want to do again.
Jacksonville, Florida.
We're fixing to break into.
Six teenage boys go on a rampage of destruction, and they use a video camera to capture every brutal moment.
In a sense, they become adrenaline junkies, addicted to the rush they get from breaking the rule and from physically breaking things themselves. Well, it's a lot like drugs or alcohol. To get off the next time, you got to do a little bit more.
He's walking up there. He's thinking about it.
A few nights later, they strike again at a home that's under construction. The havoc continues as they lay waste to the house. They're certain they won't get caught.
Before the video, we had no possible linking evidence to these suspects. There was nothing.
We're gonna get it. Oh yeah.
Now the wrecking crew becomes even more violent. Bathroom fixtures, walls, lights, windows. And finally, an entire staircase is destroyed. Needless to say, the owners are angry.
Angry enough to want to go find them. You just feel violated. When somebody violates you so far, you know, you can only take so much.
But this reign of terror is about to end.
There was a set of fingerprints. We were able to positively identify one of the suspects by the fingerprints that he left on the wall in the bathroom on the towel work. There was a full palm print where he had evidently braced himself against the wall.
With the fingerprints and their own video as evidence, the 6 boys are charged tried, and convicted. And they are forced to pay for their crimes. Norfolk, Virginia. Towering flames pour from a ruptured gasoline tanker set ablaze in a traffic collision. 2,000 gallons of high-octane fuel leak from the truck and ignite, creating a river of fire. The burning gasoline gushes through sewers and erupts from storm drains into the streets. Cars are set ablaze. Using flame-retardant foam, firefighters finally gain some control, but the danger is far from over. This massive bomb on wheels could explode at any time. Authorities order the evacuation of a nearby housing complex for the elderly, but rescuers aren't sure if they can get everybody out in time. Firefighter David Delosier sacrifices his own safety for the sake of the 15,000 people who could be wiped out by the deadly blast. He climbs on top of the burning truck and sprays foam directly on the fire. David knows that he is in grave danger.
You could hear it churning and gurgling and bubbling up and roaring, and I'm sitting up here, uh-oh, I said, something's about to happen. I was scared I was gonna get blown to bits.
Then, without warning, the fire flares up. David dives for safety, but he lands in a tank of boiling gasoline. Searing pain sends him into shock. Watch again as David unknowingly leaps into the cauldron of seething liquid.
Instead of jumping all the way to the ground, I jumped into the other tank. I figured I could jump there, leap out, but it was deeper. I slid. I wound up going down very deep.
Fellow fireman Steve Lindblad reaches out to save his friend.
All this gas is splashing, and your first reaction is, and so I'm taking in these fumes and gas in my mouth and all, and getting sprayed in the face with it, but you don't think about it, you just want to get the guy out of there.
Staggered by pain and choking on fumes, David desperately tries to remove his boots, which are filled with the scalding liquid.
They cut my clothes off of me. I was saturated. I was completely saturated from head to foot.
Despite his severe burns, David is proud that he was able to protect the citizens of Norfolk. But he's haunted by the memory of the fiery tragedy that almost cost him his life. Dayton, Ohio. A stormy night turns a busy freeway into a danger zone. One car hits a large pool of water and hydroplanes across 3 lanes, right into the path of an oncoming big rig. Luckily, the truck misses the vehicle by inches. Then, Ron and Melissa Miller in this car hit the same slick stretch of road and spin wildly out of control. Ron's able to get out, but then a 2-ton truck plows into the Miller's car with Melissa still trapped inside. Fortunately, paramedics are nearby, responding to another accident. They desperately try to get across the crowded highway to help. But then, there's another devastating collision. Watch again. Another speeding driver demolishes the Miller's car. But incredibly, Ron and Melissa survived this devastating crash.
My mom thinks there was an angel in our corner that was like just taking care of us or something, because everyone we've talked to just said that was it. We should have been dead, both of us.
Ron relives the moment that he lost control of his car.
We came up underneath the bridge, and next thing I know, we're just sliding sideways. Didn't even see the water. And the car totally did like a 180 and hit the wall.
Ron jumps out and turns in time to witness the collision with the semi-truck.
I could see pieces flying everywhere, and Melissa, I could actually see Melissa still in the car.
I don't know what told me, get out now, you know? It's just, you do, and I had to get out.
Melissa escapes the wreckage and huddles with her husband by the center divider.
It kind of happened so fast, the adrenaline just just kicked in. Everything just felt like it happened in seconds.
An instant later, the sedan smashes their car to pieces.
I just heard this horrible crashing noise, and you could hear it scrape down the median wall. Just a wretched noise.
Their car is destroyed, but miraculously, the Millers are able to walk away.
After we finally did manage to cross the road, we were holding hands, just feeling exactly how lucky we were to still be together and have each other after a horrible ordeal like this.
Next up, a rescue helicopter crashes, trapping a helpless crew member in the fiery wreckage. Plus, it's the wedding from hell. And it's no bull when two Matadors square off against each other when the world's most amazing videos returns.
Gila County, Arizona.
I advise them we have 3 rescuers, 1, 2, 3 in the creek bed. Is that still correct?
An Air Force Black Hawk helicopter has been called in to rescue 3 men trapped in a rugged mountain gorge, known as Hell's Hole. News chopper pilot Jerry Clifton is following the Black Hawk to record the dramatic rescue.
Hell's Hole is a very rocky canyon, tall trees. There's absolutely no place to land.
The Black Hawk descends into the rocky chasm and lowers a hoist to pull the first man up.
Hoist is going down on the right side.
Jerry radios the men on the ground to help coordinate the rescue.
Okay, Air Force advises 1 man at a time with as much equipment as you can carry. Get the donut underneath your armpits, sit on the paddle.
One of the men responds on a walkie-talkie.
That's affirmative. 1 at a time. As much equipment as we can.
The chopper's winch slowly raises the first man to safety while the other 2 wait below.
One coming out. You got 1 coming out.
But as the Black Hawk tries to climb out of Hell's Hole, Jerry spots trouble.
What the heck is he doing? What is he doing?
The airship begins to lose power, signaling disaster.
He's going down. He's going down.
The chopper disappears from view as it plunges into a steep granite wall.
Okay, emergency. The chopper went down. Send some help.
The Black Hawk crashes into a creek bed, spilling fuel and bursting into flames.
You got guys diving out. Looks like we have survivors, but get us the help as soon as possible.
Jerry quickly radios for assistance.
Just get whatever you can. Try the Air Force, National Guard. Gonna need heavy lift helicopters in here as fast as possible. I can count at least 6 people that appear to be somewhat mobile.
Somehow, Mike Cermeño, a paramedic on board the Black Hawk, has managed to escape the fiery wreckage.
You could hear the blades hitting the rocks and coming apart. And I'm sitting there, you know, just being afraid to get out of the helicopter because you didn't know what was coming apart out there.
Mike finds a walkie-talkie and makes radio contact with Jerry up in the news chopper.
Number 22, TV3.
Go ahead, give me an update. What is your situation down there? How many survivors do you have at this point?
All survived, all survived.
But one of the airmen, Bruce Mabry, is pinned beneath the crushing weight of the burning chopper.
The engineer was looking down at me, hollering at me to get out, and everything just turned completely still and quiet, and I said, I can't, I'm trapped.
The blades have come off, but the engine's still running. The hub is still spinning around, and the aircraft is just pulsating up and down, and you can just see it pounding on his leg.
But there's another danger. The fire is spreading with deadly speed.
Everybody kept yelling, we need to get out of here, because by then the helicopter was on fire.
Mike refuses to leave Bruce's side, choosing instead to try and free the desperate airman.
I just told Mike, I said, yeah, get out of here, you know, you guys gotta go. And he just said, no. He said, you and me, we're gonna stay here until the fire goes out.
They were there to help you to begin with. You just don't leave them.
Jerry races back to the command post to pick up rescue equipment. Within minutes, he returns to the crash site with supplies. Fire is out, but Mike has desperate news. Bruce's condition has taken a turn for the worse.
Okay, TV3's back with you.
Affirmative. We need equipment to amputate a leg. We need more equipment.
Okay, I'm coming in now.
When I looked underneath the helicopter, things weren't where they were supposed to be. The leg was pretty mashed. So I think I had probably already resigned myself to the fact that one was gone.
Jerry steadies the chopper as his cameraman drops supplies out the door.
Okay, start dropping.
Within minutes, he finally gets the news he's been hoping for. Help is on the way.
In my 30 years of flying, probably the sweetest radio communication I've ever heard is when the Department of Public Safety helicopter called and said, "We're 5 minutes out, what can we do to help?"
Using long lines and rescue baskets, chopper teams set out for the crash site to free Bruce from the wreckage. An hour later, he is returned to safety. Medics rush Bruce to a waiting chopper and airlift him to the nearest hospital. Sadly, his shattered leg cannot be saved. But he's alive, and he owes it to the bravery and dedication of men like Mike Cermeño and Jerry Clifton, two real-life heroes.
Cermeño and the people that actually took care of us are the ones that deserve to be heroes. They saved our lives. So, well, I know they saved my life.
Bullfighting. The ultimate showdown between man and beast. Valencia, Spain. Matador Jose Manzanares is about to take part in the most bizarre battle of his career. Another Matador, El Zorro, enters the ring, but he's not here to fight the bull. It's Jose he's after. Watch again. El Zorro thinks Jose is mocking him, and there's hell to pay. But Jose strikes back and lands a glancing blow. As Jose and El Zorro continue to lock horns, several other Matadors try to break it up, leading to a bench-clearing brawl. The situation is so unusual, even the bull the men are supposed to be fighting looks on in disbelief. The crowd is going wild. Jose wins the popularity contest as the fans vote with their seat cushions. El Zorro is not amused. Eventually, authorities escort El Zorro out of the ring and calm the spectators. When the dust settles, the final tally is 2 Matadors, 1 fight, no bull.
Now, an amazing video classic.
Lima, Peru. The Japanese embassy is hosting a Christmas party for hundreds of diplomatic guests. Little do they know that 3 miles away, a group of masked militants is planning to storm the compound and take everyone hostage. This is actual videotape shot by the Peruvian terrorists as they plan their assault. Their strategy is to enter the embassy by hiding in the back of this ambulance. Once inside the gates, the renegades will launch their attack. The sinister plan works with frightening efficiency. The embassy is caught off guard by the surprise assault, and the terrorists quickly seize control. The militants release 259 people. But 72 hostages remain trapped inside. The group demands freedom for hundreds of their fellow terrorists currently held in prison. But the Peruvian president refuses to give in. The impasse sparks a tense standoff that lasts for more than 4 months. Family members of those held captive hold daily vigils in hopes of being reunited with their loved ones. Then, on a bright April morning, the Peruvian military launches a counterattack. Armored carriers surround the embassy while a group of special forces uses plastic explosives to blast through the walls and storm the main building. Once inside, the soldiers lead the hostages to the rooftop. Gunshots ring out as the captives crawl to safety down a fire escape. Thankfully, the plan works. Although several people are injured in the attack, the mission is a major success. Within 30 minutes, Peruvian troops rip down the militant flag and reclaim the embassy. After 126 days of terror, the hostages are free. And one of the darkest episodes in Peruvian history is finally over.
Up next, a drunk driver skids off the road, then tries to run down a cop. Plus, it's terror on the slopes when a frightened man is steamrolled by a runaway snowmobile. Then later, a protest rally is rocked when a demonstrator's backpack explodes. When the world's most amazing videos returns.
Glacier County, Montana. Captain Scott Murray's dash cam records a high-speed pursuit of a drunk driver. One unmarked car and two police vehicles chase the suspect in the truck. The man's unpredictable maneuvers are not only endangering other motorists, but also an unwilling passenger, his girlfriend, who's now trapped in the truck with a maniac at the wheel.
He would not stop for our emergency lights, our sirens. He just was refusing to cooperate. We figured that he was intoxicated. We didn't know what his intentions were. He was acting erratic, running from us for no apparent reason.
The suspect is a native Blackfoot Indian. He knows that if he makes it back to his reservation, he can avoid arrest because he'll be out of police jurisdiction. Officers try to stop the driver by racing ahead and boxing him in.
The sheriff shot around him in the unmarked car, and after we topped the hill, that is when we finally got a chance to box him in. That's when things really got hairy.
The suspect makes several reckless attempts to pass the unmarked police car in front of him. Then, he makes his move. Let's watch again. The fugitive swerves to the left and tries to pass the unmarked police car. The two vehicles collide when the officer attempts to force the truck off the road. The impact knocks the pickup into a tailspin and it skids around full circle. Now the outlaw is facing Captain Murray.
The expression on his face and my face were probably priceless.
The suspect rams the police cruiser head on. What happens next is even more amazing.
I jumped out and drew my weapon, and he started heading for me, coming at me with his vehicle.
Unprotected by his cruiser, Captain Murray is a helpless target. The raging madman steps on the gas. Watch again. Just as the suspect tries to mow down the captain, another police vehicle rams the truck. And Murray's life is spared.
My life flashed before my eyes.
The pickup is pushed off the shoulder, but the driver still hasn't given up. He tries to get his vehicle back on the road. Officers must force their way into the truck's cab. First, they subdue the man's hysterical girlfriend. Then, they pry the suspect away from the steering wheel. Fighting to the bitter end, the driver puts up an enormous struggle. But at last, he's led away in handcuffs. Captain Murray says this drunk driver is lucky to be heading for the jury instead of a grave.
Better to be tried by 12 than carried by 6.
Now, for the viewer video of the week, sent to us by Daniel Sedolia of Ontario, Canada.
Nestled in the heart of the rugged Teton Mountains, Jackson Hole, Wyoming is home of the World Championship Hill Climb. It's an extremely dangerous sport in which snowmobiles are driven up the steepest slopes in North America. But what goes up very often comes crashing down. Remarkably, it's not the fallen drivers who run the greatest risk of injury. The brave volunteers whose job it is to stop these runaway sleds bear the brunt of the punishment. They're called hill catchers. They attempt to prevent out-of-control snowmobiles from plowing into spectators. The man you see here, Marvin Davidson, is known as the king of hill catchers.
Yeah, I've heard that. People say that, but I just go out and catch sleds.
But on this day, Marvin meets his match. Take a look. Marvin tries to catch the sled. For a moment, it gets away. But then his glove gets caught in the snowmobile's tracks and he is violently dragged face down in the snow. Here it is again from another angle.
Here comes Gil!
Champion snowmobiler Todd Tupper climbs the steepest part of the trail and suddenly wipes out. Tupper's 800-pound snowmobile rolls over 7 times before it slams into Marvin.
Marv got it! Hang in there, Marv!
He desperately tries to grab the handlebars, but is sent flying. Then Marvin's hand gets pinned, and he is taken on a brutal downhill ride. Marvin manages to pry himself from the sled, then it races recklessly down the slope. Finally, the snowmobile skids into a safety net and flips over, ending the horrifying rampage. Incredibly, Marvin survives with only minor injuries, but his family wishes he would walk away from this suicide sport forever.
My wife wants me to retire, but I told her I would when I get old, so I plan to do it for a while.
So for now, Marvin will continue to take part in this bone-crushing contest of man against machine. Taipei, Taiwan. It's midnight as firefighters arrive to find the lower floors of this apartment building engulfed in flames. Terrified residents above can't get out. They cling for their lives on narrow balconies. One panicked man prepares to jump. But a fireman pleads with him not to leap. Soon, rescue equipment arrives to pluck some of the victims from certain fiery death, like this man who was unable to walk without assistance. Others soon follow and are taken to waiting ambulances. The fire seems to be under control, but on the other side of the building, a woman signals frantically as the superheated flames lick at her back. Driven by a surge of air, another fiery blast sprays red-hot cinders. Dense, choking smoke envelops her. She can't hold on much longer. As a helicopter searches through the black cloud outside, the fire engulfs the woman's apartment. There's no longer any sign of life. Then, just when all hope seems lost, a rescuer runs from the inferno, carrying the woman in his arms. But she is suffering from smoke inhalation. She's rushed to the hospital, thankful to have survived.
I was up there so long I thought I was going to die. They told me I was one of the last ones rescued.
And she'll never forget the selfless efforts of this heroic fireman who risked his life to save hers.
I gave oxygen to the victim. I kept saying, "Don't jump, don't jump."
Coming up, an angry protester is blasted off his feet when his backpack suddenly explodes. Plus, a wedding reception goes up in flames. When the world's most amazing videos continues.
Managua, Nicaragua. When the government cuts funding for higher education, university students are enraged. They take to the streets in a massive protest. But this is not a peaceful demonstration. These students are armed with an arsenal of weapons, from rocks to tear gas. When they fire the gas at cops, the violence escalates. Riot police take harsh measures to end the disruption. They shoot rubber bullets into the crowd. When that doesn't work, the police fire their own tear gas. Just when it seems the turmoil has reached a fevered pitch, a series of explosions rips through the campus. Watch the student in the hat. 5 rounds of tear gas are loaded in his backpack. He intends to use them against the police. But without any warning, they explode. He's launched in the air and slammed to the ground. The terrified crowd runs for cover. But once it's over, they rush back to help. Miraculously, the young man is not only alive, he's conscious. But he's suffering from severe burns. The onlookers administer first aid and put him in an ambulance. Fortunately, the student survives this horrifying incident and has learned a valuable lesson. When you play with firearms, you can get burned. Malaga, Spain. Wedding day pranksters are about to present the bride and groom with a special cake with trick candles. But they're playing with fire. As much as the newlyweds huff and puff, the candles won't go out. Now the jokesters spray the couple with party string. And suddenly, it's no laughing matter. Watch again. The candles ignite the aerosol string, which burst into flames. As horrified family members look on, the bride and groom struggle to pull the molten web from their faces. Thankfully, no one is injured. Maybe these tricksters will think twice the next time they decide to toast the bride and groom.